world can change in a single breath. One heartbeat you think you are loved, and the next you are left standing alone in the ruins of everything you believed in. Emily Carter learned this truth while standing barefoot on the cold marble floors of her once-dream home, one hand resting protectively over her pregnant belly, the other holding divorce papers that trembled like a dying flame in a storm. Her husband, the man she loved, trusted, and defended, had just walked out the door with his mistress, taking all the light with him. And she had no idea that the darkness he left behind would soon reveal a truth brighter than anything she'd ever known. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories where the broken rise stronger, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support means everything. Emily wasn't born into wealth. She had grown up with simple joys: a hot meal, her father's warm laugh, a tiny house filled with love rather than luxury. Her father, Andrew, never spoke about his work. He would disappear for days or weeks, always coming home with tired eyes but a proud smile. He taught her strength, humility, and that happiness was never defined by money. She never questioned why he avoided fancy things or why he insisted she live a grounded life. Love was enough. Family was enough. But months ago, her father died suddenly. A quiet funeral, no headlines, no business speeches, just Emily grieving the only parent she'd ever known. She felt like she'd lost half her world. The other half, she thought, was her husband, Daniel. Daniel, her handsome, charming, ambitious husband, promised her the world when they married. They had dreams of a family, a future built on teamwork and devotion. At least that's what Emily believed, until her father's death left her more vulnerable than she realized. It started with small changes. Daniel coming home later, whispered messages on his phone, perfume she didn't wear lingering on his shirts, cold eyes replacing warm touches. Emily hoped it was stress, work deadlines, money issues, the upcoming baby. But the truth was sharper. He wasn't just drifting away, he was pushing her out. Then came the day he didn't bother hiding it anymore. He walked in hand with another woman, glamorous, smug, dripping in diamonds Emily didn't own. They laughed while Emily stood frozen, her heart unraveling thread by thread. He told her he needed someone more exciting, someone who could keep up with him. As though carrying his child didn't count, as though love wasn't thrilling enough. He filled out divorce papers right there. Told her to leave his house. Told her she had nothing. Emily, already fragile with grief and pregnancy, collapsed inside. But she signed. Not because she agreed, but because she had no strength left to fight. Daniel left that night, promising to marry his mistress soon, and promising that Emily would regret ever believing she deserved him. She cried until her body had no tears left, alone, unwanted, heart shattered beyond repair. She packed a small bag and rented a tiny apartment with the last bit of savings she had. Each day was survival, crackers for dinner, cheap prenatal vitamins, holding her belly while promising her unborn child something better, even if she didn't know how to provide it. She missed her father's comfort, his wisdom. She wished he hadn't left her in a world that felt so cruel. Then one morning, a black car appeared outside her building. A man in a pristine suit knocked, holding a letter bearing a crest she'd never seen before. His voice was respectful, but urgent. He told her she needed to come with him. Emily hesitated, fear tightening her throat, but something inside her whispered that this mattered. She was driven to a mammoth glass skyscraper overlooking the city. Floors seemed to touch the clouds. Inside, executives bowed as she passed, staff whispering and staring. Emily felt more out of place than ever. Finally, they entered a boardroom. Portraits lined the walls, powerful men and women, titans of industry. And there, in the center, was a portrait of her father. The room spun. The suited man introduced himself as Thomas Gray, chief attorney of a corporation Emily had never heard of, Carter Global Industries, a company that, apparently, owned major tech firms, luxury brands, innovations she used daily but never connected to a single source. Her father, Andrew Carter, was the founder, the secret trillionaire the world whispered about but never could identify. All her life he hid his empire, even from her. Emily fell into a chair, stunned into silence. The grief she carried suddenly felt heavier with realization. Her father was never absent because he didn't love her. He was working tirelessly to build something extraordinary for her. Thomas slid a stack of documents toward her, her father's will. Everything, every company, every account, every property belonged to her now. Emily, the woman who didn't know how she'd afford baby clothes, was suddenly the wealthiest woman alive. Her breath broke in sobs. Love she thought she'd lost now overflowed from beyond the grave. Her father had protected her from greed, deceit, from people like Daniel. She understood now, and she vowed never to be weak again. Thomas arranged the best medical care, the safest home, and professional counselors to help her navigate this new world. Slowly, Emily regained her strength. She walked differently, stood taller, believed deeper. She poured her newly discovered wealth into something meaningful, foundations for single mothers, scholarships, women's shelters, job programs. She turned her heartbreak into a mission to heal others. The world began to know her name, not because of scandal or extravagance, but because of her heart. Months passed, and one crisp autumn morning, Emily gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. She named her Hope, because that was what saved her. Hope that tomorrow could still bring joy, and joy did come. But before her happiness fully bloomed, Daniel reappeared. His business crashed. His mistress left him. His luxurious life evaporated because the job, the deals, the investments were all tied to Carter Global Industries. Without knowing Emily's true power, he had unknowingly bitten the hand that fed him. By the time he realized his mistake, he was broke and desperate. He showed up at Emily's door, dirty, stubbled, wearing a wrinkled coat. The same mouth that once spewed venom now begged for forgiveness. He said they were made for each other. He said he loved her. He said they could raise the baby together. Emily listened quietly, not out of hope, out of closure. She remembered the nights she cried alone, the cruel words, the way he discarded her like nothing. But she also remembered her father's teachings. Strength isn't revenge, it's knowing your worth. Emily looked Daniel in the eyes and told him she had forgiven him, not for him but for herself, because carrying hatred would only poison her own heart. But forgiveness didn't mean welcome. She wished him well and closed the door. She didn't look back. Life rewarded her courage. As she continued her philanthropic work, she noticed Thomas, the loyal attorney, was always there. Steady, supportive, quietly caring for her and Hope. He was patient, never pushing, always respecting her space and healing. In time, Emily saw what she never expected to feel again, tenderness blooming slowly, gently. One evening, as the sun dipped low and Hope giggled in Thomas's arms, Emily felt tears rise, not from pain, but gratitude. She survived betrayal. She rediscovered her strength. And now, love returned, not rushed, not demanded, but earned. She finally understood that sometimes God breaks your heart to save your soul. She looked at her daughter, then at Thomas, and realized she had everything she once prayed for, and more. If this story has touched your heart in any way, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more inspiring stories to you. Before we wrap up, we'd love to hear from you. Comment below. What would you do if someone only loved you when you had nothing? Emily built a legacy not from wealth, but from compassion. The girl who once starved for love now nourished the world with it. Her journey showed millions that heartbreak is not an ending, but a beginning disguised in tears. She no longer lived in the shadow of betrayal or the mystery of her father's hidden empire. She stepped forward, a leader, a mother, a beacon of resilience. Because the woman once abandoned became unstoppable, and the love taken from her